Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to my peeps wherever you are in the world. This is your boy X-Man 1991 signing on. It's January is here. It's a brand new year. Welcome back to another edition of my anniversary rants. It's been 25 years since one of the best Martin Luther King Day weekends ever. I had to wait till the Texans versus Steelers game was over to do this rant. So I'm going to tell you why it's been 25 years since the best Martin Luther King Day weekend happened. But mainly I'm focusing on these two shows that premiered on this day. Today has been 25 years since Gary and Mike premiered on UPN and Lizzie McGuire premiered on Disney Channel. We're going to talk about Gary and Mike first. Gary and Mike was a claymation show where you have two best friends, Gary Newton and Mike Bonner, traveling all across the United States on a road trip. We have Gary, the fairly normal, uptight, good-hearted loser who was a virgin, and Mike, who was the fun-loving, laid-back best friend from hell with a sex addiction. Despite that, this show did get positive reviews, and UPN did a good job promoting the show. And before the show was pitched to UPN, it was originally going to be on Fox, and Fox picked the show up for 6 episodes, but then they passed it to UPN, and UPN picked it up for 7 more episodes. But sadly, this show only lasted for 13 episodes. It ran from January 12th to Friday the 13th, April 13th, 2001. The show pretty much ended on a major cliffhanger. In the last episode, it did say to be continued on the screen. And according to one of the creators, Adam Small, Gary and Mike was going to come back for a second season with 10 more episodes. But UPN, being the least viewed broadcast network that it was, didn't have enough money to renew Gary and Mike for a second season. And I feel like Comedy Central or even Adult Swim should have picked the show up after UPN canceled it. Look at Home Movies. Home Movies lasted for 5 episodes on UPN before they canceled it. 2 years later, the show was picked up by Adult Swim. Not only did Adult Swim air the last 8 episodes of season 1 of Home Movies, but they renewed the show for 3 more seasons. That's what they should have did with Gary and Mike. I think Adult Swim would have been the perfect place for Gary and Mike after it was canceled by UPN. But if you haven't seen Gary and Mike or you never heard of it, the entire series is on YouTube. They have a Forever Gary and Mike channel that I will link in the description so you can watch the entire series. And you can also watch original clips from the pilot of Gary and Mike. Yeah, but it's sad that this show ended on a major cliffhanger. But anyway, I want to congratulate the cast and crew of 25 years of Gary and Mike. This show was my Friday nights, along with Celebrity Deathmatch. This show, the PJs, and Celebrity Deathmatch all aired on Friday nights on UPN and the WB. But now let me talk about Lizzie McGuire. Today has also been 25 years since Lizzie McGuire premiered on Disney Channel. Lizzie McGuire enters the world of 13-year-old Lizzie McGuire at your own risk. Lizzie McGuire, a 13-year-old, and her best friends Miranda and Gordo ride the roller coaster existence of a middle schooler. Lizzie McGuire ran for 2 seasons and 65 episodes from January 12, 2001 to Valentine's Day 2004. The show also did come out with a movie in 2003, the Lizzie McGuire movie. The show is currently streaming on Disney Plus. And speaking of Disney Plus, the show was planning to be revived. It was announced in August 2019 that the show was going to be revived and put on Disney Plus, but the revival was canceled in December 2020. Either way, Lizzie McGuire is still one of the best shows to exist on Disney Channel. This show, Even Stevens, and That's So Raven are my top 3 Disney Channel shows. And this is when we were introduced to Hilary Duff. But yeah, man. Wow, 25 years since Lizzie McGuire premiered. And Zeon, the sequel, also premiered the same day Lizzie McGuire premiered on Disney Channel. So before I close out this rant, let me tell you why this was one of the best Martin Luther King Day weekends. Aria, I'm back. This is the reason why I believe Martin Luther King Day 2001 was one of the best Martin Luther King Day weekends of the 2000s. On January 12, 2001, Gary and Mike premiered on UPN, Zeon, Ezekiel, and Lizzie McGuire premiered on Disney Channel, and Double Take and Save the Last Dance both were released in theaters. January 13, 2001, Disney's House of Mouse premiered on ABC, part of Disney's One Saturday Morning. January 14th, Taina premiered on Nickelodeon. The Jamie Foxx Show and Kenan and Kel both ended. And Martin Luther King Day, January 15th, Bob the Builder premiered here in the US on Nick Jr. The Rugrats Finsterella episode aired on Nickelodeon. And Triple H calling Stone Cold Steve Austin a pussy on WWF Raw is War. That is my Throwback Thursday Attitude Era rant for this week. 25 years of Triple H calling Stone Cold Steve Austin a pussy from the Martin Luther King Day, January 15, 2001 edition of Raw is War. That's the reason why Martin Luther King Day weekend 2001 was one of the best Martin Luther King Day weekends. I'm telling you, 2001 was definitely the most underrated year of the 2000s. Wow. But mainly this rant is just focusing on Gary and Mike and Lizzie McGuire. It's been 25 years since both these shows premiered. That wraps up my rant celebrating 25 years of Gary and Mike premiering on UPN and Lizzie McGuire premiering on Disney Channel. What do you think about these two shows looking back 25 years later? Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell for my next anniversary rant. And I still got time for one more rant. Season 5, Part 49 of my Beavis and Butthead, Daria, and Celebrity Deathmatch rant. And I'll let you know why. I'll be back in a minute. Happy 25th anniversary to Gary and Mike and Lizzie McGuire.